I'm going to tackle these problems and give you short way to easily understand this without you stressing yourself. All right, the questions before us says that in the figure below, E is an accumulator. Of course, accumulator in the other way, we can also call it battery. Okay, you know, there are some cases we call it battery and there are some cases we call it accumulator. Okay, but it's more or less like battery. Okay, with negligible internal resistance. Now, if you check this, you can see that we have resistance one here, another one here, and another one here. If the EMF is given to be this, that is, the EMF is also the same thing as the voltage. The voltage is given to be 9.0 volts. Okay, the total current is, now take note, write out, the first thing you need to do whenever you are given problem is to write out your parameters. Write out your what? Your parameters given. Even though if you don't know the formula, as you are writing the parameters, you can easily get the formula. All right, we're given that voltage V, let's write our solution. Voltage, which is V, equals to 9.0 volts. And we are asked to calculate the total current. That is the current. I is unknown. The current is unknown. And if you check this thing properly, you will see that we have resistor. And we have 3 resistors. Let's take it to be our R1 equals to 5 ohms. That is 5 ohms. R2 equals to 5 ohms. And R3, it's equals to what? 20 ohms. All right. Now, first of all, think which formula relates voltage, current, and resistor. I know that we have 3 resistors, but think first, which formula relates voltage, current, and resistor? You will see that the formula is given to be V equals to IR. What formula is this? Is it Ohm's law or Hooke's law? It is what? Ohm's law. Okay, so V is equals to IR. Now, if you check, you will see that we have V, which is this. We have I is what we have to calculate. So for us to get I, we need to know resistor. We have already know the voltage. We have already I is what we have to calculate, and R happens to be our resistor, which is what we need to know. Now, our resistor now in this case, we're given 3 resistors, so we don't have to be using them one after the other. We have to calculate an equivalent resistor. Equivalent resistor is more or less like total resistor. We need just a single resistor that will represent these 3 of them. A single resistor that will represent these 3 of them, which we call the equivalent resistor. As it is coming like this, or getting to this place is in series. Now this one is in series, but these 2, they are in parallel. We need to make sure that we convert these 2 which are in parallel, convert them to series, which will now match with this. Converting these 2 in parallel to be in series with this before we can continue. So converting these which are in parallel now to convert them to series, we say 1 over R is equals to 1 over R1, which is 5, plus 1 over R2, which is what? Which is 20. Sorry, 1 over R2, this is R1. So we have it to be 1 over R, this is R1. So we are converting R2 and R3, which are in parallel, to be in series. R2 and R3. That is 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. And that gives us 1 over R equals to R2 is 1, that is 5, plus 1 over, what is our R3? 20. I'll also show you the easy way you can easily do this without stressing yourself in writing out all this step by step. Okay, we have 1 over R equals to, now 1 over 5. Well, LCM of 5 and 20 is what? 20. We have 20. 20 divided by 5, 4. 4 times 1, that will be what? 4. Plus 20 divided by 20 is 1. 1 times 5, 1 times 1 will give us 1. Okay, so this will give us 5 over 20. And then we have 1 over R equals to 5 over 20. So reverse, if I want to find r now, I'll bring r up, bring this one down, take this one up, take this one down. That will be r over 1 equals to 20 over 5. And r over 1 is same thing as r equals to 20. That is 20 over 5 is equal to what? 4. What happens is that I've successfully convert these this r2 and r3, which are in parallel, to be in series. And the series form now is what? 4 ohms. 4 ohms. Now to now find the total ohms now, to now find the total resistors now, in this case, to find the total resistor, I will need to add these 4 ohms. This 4 ohm now, it has already represented these two entirely. So it is now this 4 ohms now is now in parallel with these 5 ohms. So what will now be the total resistor? The total resistor will now be 5 plus 4, which is equal to what? 9. The total resistor will be 5 plus 4, which is equal to 9 ohms. Now we have gotten the equivalent resistor now to be what? 9 ohms. The equivalent resistor to be 9 ohms. Now, since we have already gotten the equivalent resistor, which is R, we have already know our V. Then we can substitute into this equation to arrive the value of our I, to get the value of our I. So now our V is equals to 9.0, which is same thing as 9 equals to I. Our I, this is 9. So 9 times I will give us 9I. Our equivalent resistor is 9 here. So that is 9I. Divide both sides by 9 will give us I equals to 9 divided by 9 will give us 1. That is ampere. Unit of I is in ampere because it is in current. So the correct answer to that is option C. Now, let me show you something. I said I will show you tricks. If you are finding anything like this, maybe you are finding the parallel form, you don't need to waste your time. You can also say product over sum. Simple. You can say product over sum. Since I'm dealing with this earlier, note this. So I'm talking about parallel in terms of resistor. We have parallel in terms of capacitors. That one is different from this. In capacitors, when you are dealing with capacitors, we have parallel, we have series. Now, the way I calculated parallel now here, in terms of resistor, you use this same method. So since you are calculating parallel here, you can just say product over sum. Since I'm dealing with these two, so the product of these two over the sum, that is 20 times 5 over, what is the sum? 20 plus 5. And that will give us 20 times 5, 100, over 20 plus 5, 25. 100 divided by 25, that is 4. You can see that it's the same thing as this. But let me tell you something, that this is only applicable to when you are dealing with 2. If they are like 3, don't say 20, don't say product over sum. It doesn't work. Okay, please. If I of course I know that this video has been so helpful to you. Please consider to like and check out my other videos in this channel. Consider to comment and drop your questions in the comments. Okay, thank you.